You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hot Take Hot Box. My name is Matt McSweeney. It is not a good day. It is a bad day. It's a bad day, sad day, real bad day. Phil's really just let the NLDS slip through their fingers, and I won't say it's over because that's kind of a overdramatic thing to look at a 1-1 series. But I saw my boy Dean put this up on Twitter. He 100% right. Like, they didn't lose this series, but they definitely just lost an opportunity to kind of put their foot on the throat of the Braves and win the series, and kind of just come home to a cushy situation where you could just, all you got to do is win one game here and the series is over. But again, my name is Matt McSweeney. I'm joined by Ty Capone. Ty's Dodgers are not doing too well either, so this is going to be a sad baseball podcast from the people at the Hot Take Hot Box. But Ty, how are you feeling other than what I just mentioned?
Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, the Phillies had a huge moment to put them down 2-0. I think I heard or saw that teams that are up 2-0 in the division series are 29-3. So that would have been huge. And on the same hand, it's pretty much curtains for the Dodgers. They should win Game 3. Brandon Pfaadt is not good, and they should be able to actually get a hit this game, maybe. But who knows? October, Mookie Betts is great, and then October comes and he wants to go bowling. So I don't know what's going on there. Also, our pitching is so decimated that we had to throw Clayton Kershaw out there on Game 1 with his shoulder is basically string cheese at this point in his career. And at this point in the season, he had a good season, and then he got hurt, and now he has to pitch through it. And his velocity was in the high 80s. Things weren't looking good. He only got one out. So.
Yeah, it's not. Listen,
and they just want. I feel like the Dodgers are like, you know what? Let's make Clayton Kershaw out to be the complete joke of the franchise, so we can, I don't know. It's just it's not great. We're done. It's over.
Listen, the Phillies game, I'm sitting there in dead silence in my crib last night, and they go from the, you would have thought from the broadcast that the Braves had just won the Intergalactic Championship from the reaction that these guys were losing their fucking minds on the broadcast. So they go from that to then they show us the Dodger game, and the Dodgers are already down 1-0, and I'm like,
yeah, and then you got Bob Costas out here trying to make edgy jokes and shit. I fucking hate Bob Costas. So goddamn terrible.
Well,
he's like, Clayton Kershaw, you sad sack of shit, exiting this stadium. I'm like, all right, Bob, let's relax.
Let's take it easy, Bob. But no, it just it was rough. So let's just go through the Phils, their last, I guess, week since I believe we had a pod that Tuesday, or Monday before the wild card series. And the Phils went out and took care of business against the Marlins. I'm really not too concerned about that because, I was a little nervous. They kind of, eased my troubles there. I guess none of us really thought that the Diamondbacks would just clap the Brewers' cheeks like that. But, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. The Twins just absolutely dominated, I believe. Who did they play? Why can't I think of it right now? Blue Jays. Yeah, well, that's how irrelevant they are. And then you had your Rays get kind of just embarrassed.
Erased.
Yeah, and not a good look to have. I get the game was at 3:00, but not a good look to have that many empty seats.
And there's people that down here are like, well, it's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I'm like, meanwhile, Milwaukee is packed to the gills, and every stadium, every single home game the MLB has had, it's been like 100% attendance, and then the Rays was like 30. It's not really a baseball area. Like, people love the Rays down here, but there's a lot of transplants. The Tampa Bay Rays play in St. Pete, not way out of the way, but if there's traffic on the bridge, very far from Tampa. And I don't know, Tampa fans just aren't great sports. It's not a great sports city. It's definitely a hockey city. Everyone loves the Lightning, but they're also in Tampa. They're in downtown Tampa, and they've also been pretty good most of their existence. So I don't know what else is. The Rays are trying to do something. They're trying to get a new stadium. That's like 2026, 2027, I think. So they're going to try to transform the Trop and everything around the Trop into what Atlanta has done with the Battery outside of the Truist, which is awesome. Looks really good, brand new, expensive. I'm sure there's a bunch of shit to do outside of the stadium or right next to the stadium. So that's what the Rays are trying to do. But yeah, I just, as long as it's not the Trop, because it's so dull inside there, like it's fun.
It's like an Amazon warehouse in there, dude. I've never been there, but I've only seen it in pictures. It just looks so bad.
It's just dull. You're in there and you're like, all right, well, here we are.
There's no like environment. There's no electricity.
No,
it's
dead quiet. There's like a Rays tank where you can like go pet a stingray or some shit. Other than that, there's not much to do.
Well, I'd punch one of them for my homie Steve Irwin, but listen. So the Phils, they draw the Braves. Obviously, we knew this was going to happen. They go out in Game 1, and they look dominant. They take care of business. Ranger Suarez pitches like 3 2/3, which was like I was pulling my hair out. He brings Jeff Hoffman in the 4th inning. Well, I'm like, what in God's name is going on? Everything
pitcher.
Yeah, everything he did in that game worked out. It seemed so. I mean, he used his entire bullpen. I'm almost positive. I mean, other than maybe a name here or there, but
the off days, I guess, help.
Yeah,
managers be able to kind of go through a bullpen or have multiple bullpen games in a series, and kind of be able to bounce back from that and not be pretty much depleted. Also, so that happened, and I was like, dude, they have Wheeler Game 2 and Nola Game 3. Like, I'm not saying they're going to sweep them, but that is a huge advantage to have over the Braves, whose pitching is, not great. Like Max Fried looked like shit last night. So, they really just needed that fucking win. They had it. They had it the entire game, and they, like you said, could have put their foot right directly on the throat of the Braves and forced them to win 2 games in Philly, where that place is fucking rocking, and then have to come back home. So now, I mean, you have to win both. I don't think you want to go back to Atlanta for Game 5.
Definitely don't. So they in that Game 1, they go Hoffman, Dominguez, Alvarado, Kerkering, Strom, and Kerkering's the guy from Single A that they brought up, and he's just throws 100 and just like has this sweeper that just cuts across the zone.
Yeah. I'm all in.
No, that's why I that's one of my favorite moves that a GM has made, where it was just like they went and saw this guy, they were like, oh, he's got this kind of stuff. Like, all right, we're bringing him up. Like, let's just not.
I like that. Even if he's not ready, what happens? He gets rocked. Well, Clay Kershaw's got 500,000 innings of experience, and he gets rocked. So. Maybe experience doesn't matter sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. You bring a guy like Hoffman into the game. So all right, so they win that game 3-0. It's really not even all that close throughout the game. I mean, there were some moments where you're like, oh, shit, this could go their way. And it, Turner makes that diving play, I think in the 8th inning. That kind of saves the game. Yeah, so there were some big moments. So last night, like you said, you're going into this game, you're thinking, you got Zach Wheeler. This is your horse, your ace. And you're pitching, or you're playing against a Max Fried who had a boo-boo on his finger, which we heard about 1,000 times going into this this game last night. And throughout the game, they would not stop talking about it. Jeff Francoeur's giving breakdowns First of all, I don't understand also why Jeff Francoeur couldn't have somebody maybe like gel his hair a little bit better, because he literally looks like he just got up off the craps table at fucking 3 a.m. He looks so shot out. It's unbelievable. But I digress.
Phillies legend.
Yeah, exactly. Phillies legend. They're like, well, he played for the Phillies. I'm like, it doesn't really matter. The guy was like Mr. Baseball in the state of Georgia in like 2002. And he's like Mr. Atlanta Brave. They fucking love that guy down there. I don't want to hear about how he has Phillies tie. He could give 2 fucks about Philadelphia and the Phillies.
Yeah, he was cooked by the time he was on the Phillies anyway.
Phils go out there and get a run in the 1st inning, which is huge. You jump out to a 1-0, like 1-0 just lead before Wheeler even touches the mound. Wheeler comes out and strikes out the first 6 guys he sees, dude. He's absolutely cruising. You're up 3-0, 4-0 in the 5th inning, okay? And you're thinking, oh, man, here we go, dude. Like, we're in here. Like, this just feels like a W. I was already sitting in my house like, God damn, like, I feel good. Then things kind of...
Acuna, right?
I believe that's exactly...
Acuna steals second, gets the 3rd on a wild pitch.
No, he gets the 3rd. No, he gets the 3rd on like a. Wait, I'm sorry. Does he steal? No, I think he was on 1st. and the guy hits a double down the line, and Castellanos is throwing it in, and Turner tries to backhand it, and it bounces off his glove, and Acuna scores from third on that. So then we just have a guy on first, I believe.
That's right.
And then I think they get out of that inning. Yes, they get out of that inning.
Yeah,
and then they come back, and it's a Matt Olson nuke, like a line drive. Maybe they got an out before that. I think it maybe no,
he led off with a single. They struck out Ozuna, and then D'Arnaud went deep.
Then D'Arnaud went deep. Yeah. So and that pitch choice there, I just don't get. I mean, maybe it's just a good pitch choice, but bad execution, because that curveball just looped right across the zone, and off the bat, you knew that thing was gone, and it went very deep into the left field seats. So now it's 4-3, and you're like, you can, as a Phillies fan, you just have that feeling. You're like, oh my God, I said it at my house. Everyone's like, oh, you're so negative, but I can't help it, man. I was like, we're gonna lose this game, dude. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but we are going to lose this game. I've watched the Phillies all season long. This Phillies team, even last year, has a tendency that they score early runs and then they just stop. They're done. Yeah, like that's it. And they left a lot of guys on base last night. They left a lot of opportunities out there and gave runs away, it seems. I mean, bases loaded in the first inning where they get out of it. They had a couple like first and third with one out, and that they were able to.
In the sixth inning, they could have piled on more right before the Braves batted in the sixth.
Yes,
I think they had Baum. And they had runners on first and second with one out. And then Harper fouls out the third, and Real Muto fouls out the first. Just pathetic at bats that you can't have from your two of your biggest guys. Like, all you need is a little single, right? All you need is a walk, just something, a little poke, and to foul out weekly. Like, it was like the Dodgers last night. They would get a runner on, double play. Mookie Betts would come up, he would pop up. Freddie Freeman would come up, he would ground out. It's like, you need your big guys to perform with the fucking season on the line, pretty much. Like every run, every at bat, everything matters in a best of 5 series. And in the sixth inning, the Phillies had a chance to just add on a little bit more before the Braves bats start to wake up, and they couldn't.
Nope.
And I mean, runners in scoring position, there's no excuses. Like, you can say that the bats showed up a little bit in the first half of the game, but you got to keep going, man. The Braves can just the Braves can score 10 runs in the blink of an eye, and they scored 5 in the blink of an eye. So that really, and then obviously walking Acuna is just can't happen. That's the one guy you cannot put on the bases. And then Trey Turner cannot, I don't know how he botched a throw in from the outfield. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it can't happen.
It just started to avalanche. It seemed like, pretty much.
And I know, so now they obviously the Phillies lose, and you really don't get much going in those later innings of the game. You have AJ Minter, who comes in throwing gas, and Raciel Iglesias, who, I mean, Castellanos was about 5 feet away from taking the lead in this game with that ball. He absolutely smoked. But I mean, play. Yeah, what a play by Michael Harris. It really was reminiscent of that Chas McCormick play in the World Series last year. But the mind-bending... Also, at the same time, James Outman made a similar catch. Yeah.
Same exact time.
Mind-bending is the fact that Bryce Harper was midway through second and third base there. I just truly don't understand what he was thinking or what he was doing. At the very least, he should be standing right on second base and just I just don't get the advantage. Like, if that ball is not caught and he drops it or it bounces off the wall, he's going to score if he's standing on second base. Either way.
Yeah. Like,
even if he has a couple steps off second base. I just don't get... He was in full run around second base. Like, that thing was on the ground. Like, I don't get it. And Bryce Harper is one of the... Like, I don't want to say this like because it's going to sound horrible, but it's the truth. He is a horrible base runner. He really is. Like, I don't get where he is one of the smartest baseball players until it involves trying to run the bases. And he just has no fucking idea what he's doing. He's so aggressive on the bases for no reason. That is not a situation where we need you to, even if he catches that ball, you go back to first base, you still have Bryson Stott up against a right-hander who I have confidence that maybe Bryson Stott could find one of those gaps or rope one down the line, and maybe you score and get thrown out at the plate. I'll live with that. But for us to go out the way we did last night, it was horrible. We just gave that game away 100%. And They score 5 runs throughout from the 6th to the 8th inning, and that's how they win the game. Off 2 home runs and a fucking botched play by Trey Turner that really just cost them the game. He makes 2 errors last night. He's the 2 Phillies errors, and it's tough because Max Fried he pitched horrible last night. You could tell right away that he was kind of like not necessarily wounded or whatever, but you could get to him. He was not, it was a version of Max Fried that you were not really all that worried about. Now, you don't know who you're going to be facing in Game 3. I'm not necessarily all that worried about it, but I don't know, man. I think a lot of the Phillies fans around here think that it's just going to be just like last year. Like the Braves are going to come in here scared, and we're just going to walk through them. I don't really. Those guys have been sitting around all year long thinking about playing here again, thinking about getting that revenge and kind of just ripping our hearts out. And they're a great baseball team. That's what I was like. I was screaming. You don't give great baseball teams games like that. You can't, because it will come back to bite you. The Braves have not played that well yet, and now it seems like the momentum has completely shifted. And I get the momentum at the end of the day doesn't really matter in playoff baseball because it kind of just goes back and forth. But it's just more of the fact that they had that game won. You got exactly what you needed from Zach Wheeler, and now you'll never see Topper leave him out there and kind of trust his starter. He's just going to go right to the pen. And again, before I forget, I did want to discuss the fact that I don't understand why Jeff Hoffman is coming in the 8th inning of a truly meaningful, the most important game of the season. I get he's pitched well. I get his ERA is probably great and all those numbers and whatnot, but still Jeff Hoffman. It's still the NLDS, and I don't trust you, so I'm not going to go to you in the biggest moment of the season. I probably would have left. I mean, listen, I get it's lefty-righty situation, but I mean, Alvarado's still absolutely pumping gas, and he has off tomorrow, so I don't get why you wouldn't maybe try to extend him, run him for 2 innings. I don't know. Like I feel like I would have lived with Alvarado giving up a bomb as opposed to Jeff Hoffman. It just, I don't know. What do you think from an outsider's perspective as just kind of watching this whole nightmare unfold?
I don't know, man. I feel like managing a bullpen is so even if you make the right moves, it doesn't matter. Like Dave Roberts pulled all the strings in game 2 against the Diamondbacks last night. He took guys out when they should. He brought in the right guys, and it didn't matter. So that's going to get lost in some people. But if he would have, if you're winning and you take out a starter and bring in one guy and he gets rocked, it's like, well, why didn't you bring in the other guys? But if you brought him in and he got rocked, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like you should have brought in this guy and not that guy. I personally think Alvarado's nasty. I think he's nails. I think you probably try to ride him as long as you can, like 20 something pitches. I don't know. I never saw it with Jeff Hoffman. He was a top prospect like 5-10 years ago and flamed out, and now he's like a reclamation project reliever. I've never been confident in him. So yeah, I mean, I guess I would have left Alvarado in, but also I'm not a manager. I don't know if Rob Thompson's much better than I or you are, but yeah, tough decision. He's going to get criticized pretty heavily for that. Yeah,
and he won. I mean, you could argue Rob Thompson won them game 1 with the decisions he made. So it's nothing to really like I was there saying, why the fuck did they just take Ranger Suarez out? He was absolutely dealing, but obviously it worked out. He made the right decision because we won the game last night. I guess the only problem I have with leaving Wheeler in is just because he hasn't done that all year. Even though I've wanted him to do that, it just strays from his identity or what he believes. So that's why I don't like it, because it's just I've come to expect, as soon as Olsen got that hit, I was like, oh, they're taking him out. I thought they were going to take him out before the inning when they saw Hoffman warming up in the pen during the last inning. I'm like, all right, well, he got through the 6th, we're good now. He did what he had to do. I don't necessarily I just don't understand. If you were going to make a playoff run, why you didn't go out and get another absolute nuclear arm out of the pen? Or maybe, I don't know, there had to be a better option back there that they could have brought in other than fucking Jeff Hoffman. I don't care what he's done all year. I really don't. He got one out the other night. Congratulations. It's way different than pitching in a 1-run game in the 8th inning of the NLDS. I don't know. And I mean, at the end of the day, they probably were going to go to Kimbrel in the 9th, and things were going to go fucking haywire from there anyway. So I really don't want to get all that worked up about it. But it's just more of the matchup situation where I don't want Jeff Hoffman facing the top of the lineup. I don't know who we have as a right-handed arm out of the pen that I want facing the top of the lineup. That's the tough thing about playing these guys. They have Austin Riley, Acuna, fucking Ozuna. They have just really good right-handed bats. So it's like, I get you don't want to necessarily go lefty on lefty. I wouldn't want Strom in there, but I think Alvarado's a little bit of a different story. I think you could have
Alvarado or Soto.
Yeah,
I think
exactly. Like
Alvarado only pitched 16 pitches, only threw 16 pitches. So like maybe leave him in for I don't know. But
and I tweeted that you have the account 3-2. Why are you throwing like a curveball across the middle of the zone? Like that to me, I didn't understand. Throw some high heat or low and away, and if he beats you, it beats you. It is what it is. But I am not going to serve one up to him. And if he walks him, he walks him. Maybe it was like he wanted it low, and Hoffman just completely missed the spot, which that's possible. But I would have rather. I mean, obviously it's easy to say that now, but I don't understand why you're not just walking that guy and have Olsen, especially if you were going to go to Soto no matter what. I'd rather would have just dealt with Soto. If Soto serves one up, he serves one up. But I'll take the guy who's absolutely pumping gas out of the pen and live with the consequences. But now they got game 3.
Yeah, I guess the good news is you have Nola going against either Bryce Elder, I would assume Bryce Elder, or AJ Smith Sawyer.
Is that going to be both like they won't be able to throw Strider in game 4, you don't think, right?
Well, no, I think he is going game 4.
Wow.
Is what it seems like, him and Suarez, because I think they get another day off also.
So they're off today, but it's Wednesday. He'll pitch on Thursday then.
Okay. So I think they're going to try to make it a bullpen game. Hope Bryce Elder or Smith Shawver can go 3 or 4, and then Bryce Elder's. I don't know if he's going to start, but he's going to definitely. They're going to try to get 3-4 innings out of him. But you have the advantage there. Aaron Nola, listen, that's the bad news. Aaron Nola is very volatile.
Yeah.
And he likes to hang curveballs. He likes to throw dead fastballs. He likes to throw meatballs. He gives up home runs a lot, So that against this lineup is potentially dangerous, but I think you can definitely get – Bryce Elder's not that good. A.J. Smith-Shawver's not that good. Like, this is a game you got to win because you got Spencer Strider in game 4. And then game 5, who knows? Who knows what can happen if we even get that far. But – game
5 would probably be what? Wheeler, same thing. Wheeler Freed, you think?
Wheeler, yeah, probably. And then obviously all hands will be on deck besides the guys that pitched in the game before. But even then, that's advantage Phillies. Phillies have the advantage in probably games 1, 2, 4, and 5. So they just, obviously this goes without saying, but they cannot lose game 3 and look at Strider in an elimination game against Ranger Suarez, who I don't think he's awful or anything, but he only gave you 3 innings the first time. If that happens again, they don't trust him. Your bullpen might be taxed. Yeah, your bullpen might be taxed. So, very interesting. It's going to be a very, very interesting series. I mean, listen, you get past the Braves, you probably think like, wow, the NL could be ours. Like the Diamondbacks are, they're fun. They have young talent, but they have no pitching outside of Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, and even Merrill Kelly. He's okay, but
he was fighting for his life the other night, even though they were up by a lot. You could just tell like he's a grinder, man. Like his stuff isn't exactly the greatest. He's just kind of trying to nitpick the outside of the zone. I don't know. My buddy had him like 6 Ks the other night, and he was just fighting for his life to get those Ks, and he never did.
Zach Gallen pitching a playoff game in Philly would be kind of cool since he's from South Jersey. But I don't think. I think Philly would have the advantage 1,000,000% over the Diamondbacks. Not to say that they would cruise past them because anything could happen in the playoffs. When the Giants won their World Series, they were like 88, 86 win teams those seasons. So truly anything can happen. Look at the Phillies last year. I was like, the Padres are going to smoke the Phillies. Nope. So, and also, even if the Dodgers did advance, we're like a wounded animal at this point in the season,
Yeah.
So,
I'd almost rather play the Dodgers, like just because of that reason. Their pitching is not that good at this point in the season, and like you said, like they just kind of broke down. They're a great baseball team. They just kind of ran out of gas, and that's why I feel like the Braves, in some sense, are that. They're just a little bit in better shape right now than the Dodgers are. Because I mean, you went through their starting pitching, and it's just not. It is not good, and it's And the Diamondbacks, like it's right. It's all right there for the Phils. That's why last night it was like it felt like the world was over. Really, like I was heartbroken. I could not believe that like
losing the way you lost.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you had that game, and I'm just like I can't understand how we let that happen. I'm telling you, man. I was on the watch, man, and you guys know what the watch is. It was tough. It was tough, man. I don't feel good either. And that's the thing I have a problem with now, because people are like, well, we got Nola going game 3. We'll be all right. I'm like, well, did you guys watch Nola pitch this season? Because, I mean, he had one good start against the Marlins, but that guy would pitch 3 good innings, and then all of a sudden it become a home run derby in the middle of the game. You're like, wow. Yeah. Where you're out, you're out with your buddies, and you go look at your phone. It was 4-0. Now you're looking at 5-4, and you're watching Nola get taken out. You're like, whoa, what happened? How does it 5-4 now? And you're just, no, here comes Jeff Hoffman into the game. So,
also, he throws a lot of pitches. Nola does. He tries to get Ks. So the last thing you want to do is just absolutely burn through your bullpen again before you face Spencer Strider. Strider, can't say his name. So it's definitely an uphill battle. But Game 3 is the one. They got to come out here and just fucking score first, and
they got to put up
scoring,
like a 10 spot. Yeah, I think this game in the over is the lock.
Set the tone early.
Shout out to the 8 ball. I think we need the overplay here. I think my fellow co-host in this podcast has pissed the 8 ball off. So I am not with. Just so you know, 8 ball. I don't fuck with my boy right here. All right, but I do, but I don't. But
I'm so sorry for saying the Cowboys are not that good. How dare I?
Well, I do agree with you.
What a hot take.
I think the Cowboys are doo-doo trash meat, but yeah, it is what it is.
So is the whole world.
Yeah. Listen. Is that all we have pretty much for the Phillies? I could probably sit here all day and talk about it, but it's
doo-doo trash meat.
Doo-doo trash meat.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. We'll see where we are come the end of the week. It's going to be, listen, the Dodgers, I'm already accepting that they're probably going to win Game 3, and people are going to be like, oh yeah, we're back, and then lose Game 4. So maybe we'll see. Either way, I don't really care. I shouldn't say I don't care, but I've kind of accepted my fate. I don't know. Let's go get Ohtani, even though he can't really pitch. But let's go get him anyway, because then eventually we have to score runs on accident with Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani at the top of our lineup. Max Muncy, Will Smith too, like JD Martinez. Just man,
he'll be in
it's like a
wheelchair by
MLB.
then.
Well, yeah, he's he's gonna be like the guy in SpongeBob in a full body cast. So we'll see with them. I guess now we can pivot to the Birds.
How about them Birds? They one of their better performances of the season, I would say, against the Rams. It wasn't necessarily like a dominant performance. It was a game that was, close, but not all that close. It wasn't a game that you really thought they were in danger of losing. They take the win 23-14. Offense didn't play great, but it was good to see the defense kind of come up big when they needed them. Couple of Hassan Reddick sacks on the last drive to kind of close the game out. You know what also was cracking me up was that the position of wide receiver in the NFL is so funny to me, because Devontae Smith's first game where he's not really producing, and he's got one catch. Well, at one point
didn't know he was playing.
I know. At one point he had no catches.
It was weird.
But wide receiver is the only position in sports where even if your team is winning, you're having a fucking mental breakdown if you're not catching if no one's throwing you the ball. It is the most diva position in all of sports. These guys
It never fails. It never fails.
Really?
AJ Brown's on the sideline. I'm like, bro, what's your problem? Then he gets force fed the rest of the game, and he's all smiling and happy. It's like, yeah, why don't you just calm down? You're 5th in the league in receiving yards. Just relax. Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are over there taking turns dicking down Mario Goodrich, and it's like they're all smiles. Nobody's really worried about that. And what bothered me is Cooper Kupp was literally, they ran the same play every single time, and it worked. It kept working. He didn't do much in the second half, but good God, man. I'm not ready to hit the panic button yet, but it's still early in the season. We have some guys that are going to be coming back. I mean, Avonte Maddox is done, so that sucks. Our safeties are just we're going to get Sidney Brown. He's going to look better as the year goes on, hopefully. He's been one of our better players in the limited time he's played. So that's good. I think getting Justin Evans back will help. Bradley Groby he gave up like 2 catches for -2 yards, so that's good. I mean, I'm not trying to rely on any of these guys, but having them all play and all rotate in with Blankenship. The guy I'm really worried about is Darius Slay. He has just not looked good, man. It's not that he looks like he's not trying. I think he's just lost a step. He's 32, 33, so that's not good. That is not good. I think the middle of the field is such a weak spot for us on defense. Like Nick Morrow has been great so far this year. I have really no complaints about him, but I'm looking at Kaiser White and TJ Edwards. They're both still playing good this year for their respective
dropped
teams.
Interception.
Yeah.
And then missing the fumble. No, yeah, now I'm reminding you were just reminding me of all the shit Nick Morrow did on fucking Saturday or something.
I wish we kept one of them, just one of the linebackers, but now we have Zach Cunningham out there, and he, finally showed his age and looked he was a step behind everywhere against the Rams. And we don't have a slot corner. We're Eli Ricks, I think, in his limited time looked good. I think that's the guy you have to go to if you're going to go with any of these reserve corners. Mario Goodrich, not it. Who's the guy? Who's the other corner the week before that got absolutely slaughtered?
Josh Jobe.
Yep, Josh Jobe. So those two just aren't the problem, or aren't the solution, I should say. Hassan Reddick, finally free of his cast, got a couple sacks, got a couple pressures. That was good to see. Josh Sweat also had a great game. Jalen Carter, great game. Without Fletcher Cox, the D-line looked good. Yeah. Again, my issue is Darius Slay, because I think he is cornerback one. He is our answer for other teams' top option. And he just hasn't been there this year, man. He just has not been there. I'm going to try to find some of his stats now. I mean, his grades all across the board are just low. He's given up 27 catches on 38 targets. It's 71 receiving percentage. Last year was at 55. I
was going to say,
huge dip. He's already given up 318 yards in coverage this year. Last year alone, 559. The year before that, 489. So he's approaching, that territory. He's almost given up as much yak this year as he did the last 2 years. He's already given up 2 touchdowns. He only has 1 pick, only has 1 PBU. His passer rating when targeted 103. So I'm just, I'm not saying that he's washed and he's cooked, but he's getting old. And what happens when quarterbacks get old? They just pretty much fall off a cliff, So that's my issue. That is my number one issue. I really want us to go out there and trade for Justin Simmons, Budda Baker. Who's the other fellow that I can't think of? Sure. We're not going to get Patrick Surtain, but it would be nice to get a good quality DB from a team that sucks. Like Harrison Smith. Go scoop up Harrison Smith from the Vikings, or I don't know. But I think we 100%. I know NFL teams don't really make huge trades. I say that as Van Jefferson just got traded, just now.
Did he really?
Yeah, to the Falcons. But I think there has to be a move that's made. And I'm not talking about signing Bradley Groby. That's a cool little Band-Aid. But if we want to be, listen, the Niners are just tearing up teams. Like, I'm not saying they're better than us, like a lot of people are saying, but they're going to be a formidable opponent, man. Like Brock Purdy, maybe his elbow's not going to be, minced meat this year. Maybe he will be able to throw it against us. And I just have some issues with our passing defense. Not as a whole. I think we can kind of, we're so good up front that we can kind of mask some of those issues. But there's going to be a time where, Darius Slay has to make a stop, has to defend Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, or CeeDee Lamb. Probably not. Somebody else in the NFC has to step up. I'm not sure who, but I think we need to go out there and trade for a DB. I don't know who, but I think we need to go out there and definitely get somebody.
I think it seems like every week it's something different. Like the defense played, like they stopped the run. Like it was the good thing. And like you said, Jalen Carter, talk about an absolute steal at number 10. He's
insane.
He's been absolutely incredible.
How about the Raiders taking Tyree Wilson? Guy has like one pressure all year, and Jalen Carter has like 15 or 20 already.
The only highlight I've seen of him is Keenan Allen just chipping him at the line and destroying him, and then it's calling
Jalen Carter
using some funny language towards him to let him know that he is soft as shit, basically. So, I would say, like, I mean, obviously it's concerning that Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua were able to just run wild. I mean, Cooper Kupp caught like the first 6 passes from Stafford on Sunday. It just seemed like nobody was even near him. And like you said, like they had Mario Goodrich out there in one-on-one coverage. And I saw a couple Bradley Roby's carding Cooper Kupp. Like they were finding those matchups. They were running a little bit of motion and switching up the coverage and stuff. It was not good. I saw a couple Bradburys where he was about 5 yards behind Puka down the field.
He gave up the touchdown. So I think Puka.
Yeah,
he's another one. He's not young. Like he's going to slow down. He might fall off a cliff this year. You know, like they're having both your top corners being in their 30s is fucking bad. It's like having a top defenseman, a defense pair in hockey, both being in their 30s. They're just losing a step in the most crucial spot where you need speed, agility, acceleration. Just that explosiveness out of somebody to keep up with another receiver. Like what happens if we, what happens when we play the Dolphins? Who is going to cover Tyreek Hill? Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. So is that next week?
Yeah. Well, so we play the Jets this week, and then next week is the Kelly Green Dolphins game. So
I'm not saying the
Sunday
Dolphins
Night
are like,
Football. It's gonna be a spectacle.
Yeah, is that in Miami or is that in Philly?
It's in Philly.
It's in Philly. Okay, that's gonna be a great game. I am a little nervous because the Dolphins have insane speed. We will probably miss Devon Achane, so that's good. We'll see about Waddle. He's almost always hurt. I'm not worried. I think we can get to Tua and possibly bang him up for a little bit, maybe cuss him. I'm just kidding. But
come on,
I'm just saying. I think we can definitely
we can definitely get to him though.
We can give him happy feet. He used to have happy feet in Bama all the time when things didn't go the way they were supposed to, especially against LSU. So I'm not that worried about him, but man, Tyreek Hill, I mean, you can just, have me out there, just throw the ball up a little bit somewhere and then he'll go get it. So that kind of worries me. The Jets game does not worry me. We easily win that game. It is in New York. It could be a down spot since we have the Dolphins the next week.
I think we should run them over though.
We should. We absolutely should. But we should have ran over the Commanders.
Yeah, that's true. And
the Patriots. Look how fucking sad the goddamn Patriots look right now.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting blown out every single week. That goes to show you, Bill. It wasn't Bill. It was Tom. So that's all. Yeah. That's all you need to know out there, ladies and gentlemen.
System quarterback, I thought. Yeah.
It was good to see Dallas Goedert get going this game, though. That's something that they obviously came out with the intention to go really just feed him, and they did. It was good to see DeAndre Swift kind of getting active in the pass game, too. It's not something really the Eagles do, which is kind of dump it off to the back. I mean, he didn't really do a lot, but it was just good to see like him getting some touches and getting the ball. They ran the ball with pretty much ease. Aaron Donald, I didn't even know he was out there for half the time. He really was doing nothing.
Yeah, he didn't do I think somebody at one point was like, we're noticing Jalen Carter is looking like Aaron Donald out here while Aaron Donald isn't doing anything. I think he had a Pro Football Focus grade of 61, just very not great. His pass rushing grade was a 49. Aaron Donald, so we really shut him down. He had one total pressure compared to Zach Van Valkenburg had 3, Byron Young had 4, Ernest Jones had 4. Like we really
Byron Young looked good.
Byron, yeah, he did look good, and so did that one fucker. He was all over the field. I think it was Van Valkenburg, but we did. I mean, shut down Aaron Donald. Again, he's starting to get older, but he's still a fucking beast. Maybe you don't have to triple team him anymore, but either way, we shut him down. We did what we had to do, got the W, and I do have concerns, but I do think we are the best team in the league. I will stand on top of that hill.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see like I saw what's his name, your boy Stephen A. Smith did his like top 5 power rankings, and we were number 2, and I think that's fair. I don't think after what the 49ers just did to the Cowboys, I don't see why you couldn't put them ahead, but. I mean, we're gonna at the end of the day, the power rankings and all don't really matter. We will play them. They're gonna come to our crib, and we're gonna take care. We're gonna take care of business. All right, I see a lot of people now are trying to knight Brock Purdy as like the he's an MVP candidate and whatnot. Like, I don't see that. I really don't. I mean, he had one good game, this past week against the Cowboys, and everyone's freaking out. He's been good, but he's still just he's a game manager. That's all. He has the best team around him, and I know people are like, well, Jalen Hurts has a great team around him. Like, it's not in comparison to the weapons that the 49ers have. It's really not. They have a better running back. They have a better tight end. They have, Ayuk and Samuel, which is, not, I don't think it's better than what the Eagles have, but it's not all that far off. And they have just as good of an offensive line, if not better.
They probably have one of the best offensive minds in Shanahan.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying I think our offense looked a lot better this week, play calling wise. I think Brian Johnson's, learning as he's going, but obviously you're going to trust Shanny.
And there's a little 100%. Bit of a thing going on right now that people don't know who's calling the plays for. I know, like, there was kind of like a discussion whether it was Sirianni that kind of took over the play calling again because things were so bad on the offense, in the offensive department. But I don't know. I'm trying not to get too worked up over a team that's still 5-0. And they've really, they've been in some close ones, but like I said last week, I'd rather them be in close games as opposed to last year when they were never really in a close game, and then, when they were, it just seemed like it didn't go our way. It just, or we have razor thin games against the Colts and stuff like that, where we were gonna win no matter what. They scored 10 fucking points and yada yada. I just am worried that the defensive coordinator and like the new offensive coordinator and some of these little mistakes, and we don't seem as crisp and as good as we were last year, which is not to say we can't be that later on in the season, but right now we're not there yet. So it's just we have to see them grow and get there. But yeah,
shout out to Jordan Mailata. I just want to give him his flowers. I feel like a lot of people give him the credit he deserves. I probably have not. So I want to say shout out to Jordan Mailata. He was drafted in very end of the 7th round.
Yep,
playing rugby in Australia. And Jeff Stoutland, what a fucking absolute monster of a coach he is. He is rated as the second highest tackle in football behind only Trent Williams, who was like a goddamn, he has a lot of anger issues.
Yeah.
He's a fucking cheap motherfucker, and I hate him, but he is you can't get past it.
No.
He is an absolute one of the best left tackles ever. And Jordan Mailata is right there with him per Pro Football Focus. He's given up 1 sack. No quarterback hits, 10 hurries. Jordan Mailata has been amazing. He's also been amazing in the run game. So shout out to the entire O-line. Landon Dickerson played his ass off this week. Jason Kelsey has been formidable. He's been solid. Lane Johnson has been solid. I have no issues with any of the O-line. And like you said, Dallas got him go. He had like 60 yards after the catch. Huge to get him involved and see him look good. Because other than that, at tight end, we don't have anybody. So, and we also don't have a wide receiver 3.
Yeah. Quez, again, just blast his ass into the sun. That's why I tweeted that out on Sunday.
That run, the end around was,
Well, it's like they run that screenplay, and it's just like go forward. Like, but he's so scared to kind of get contacted that he just took it and ran it out of bounds. You saw Sirianni just flipping out on Sunday. I think it was at Brian Johnson or whoever, but it was just. It's probably more of why are we running that to Quez Watkins as opposed to somebody else that will actually get up the field and make a fucking play. But yeah, listen. At the end of the day, like we said, the Eagles are 5-0. That's the right number, right? 5-0. I think we're 5 weeks.
Yes.
In. Yeah, 5-0. I think they're going to be 6-0. I think they will take care of the Jets. We'll talk more about that on Friday, Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure which one we're going to do, but I do feel good. And the same problems that we talked about before just persist. They need to clean up the secondary, and they need to clean up the defense a little bit. And it was just good to see them move the ball a little bit. They ran for 160 plus. So I would like to see a little bit less running from our quarterback, but I'm not going to get too worked up about that. So Kyron Johnson going to the Steelers, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, all right.
Who cares? All right. So Sixers, I guess, would be the next on the docket, unfortunately. Your boy, James Harden. Uno. He's back. He came to training camp because money was on the line, so he made sure his ass showed up. And
all talk, huh?
Yeah.
To make everybody's life miserable and being whatever else he was going to do. He's going to come in like Mussolini and tell everybody to go fuck themselves. Yeah, that didn't happen. He shows up, he's all buddy with everybody. Let's take some jumpers, guys. Fucking pathetic. It was just so sad all off season. He wanted to force his way to the Clippers. Nope, didn't happen. All right, so I'll force my way not to Philly. I just won't show up. And then he shows up. So, NBA players are truly the biggest diva, the biggest attention seekers. That's all they are. That's all they care about is attention. It's all they want. They want clout and they want attention. They'll all bang the same Instagram models. They'll all do the same thing. It's just very frustrating. And now we're in a situation where it's like, great, we got Harden back, but now what?
Yeah, it's a weird culture though. The whole NBA is just weird.
It's weird. But now I look at our team, and Joel Embiid is choosing a country to represent, like a high school recruit chooses a school. He's got 5 hats on the table. He's like, all right, which one am I going to choose? Then we got Harden coming back. We signed Kelly Oubre. It's our big acquisition in the offseason. He shoots like 2 of 8 in the first preseason game. So I just don't know what we are as a team. So I guess we'll have to see how Nurse kind of gets these guys to play together and, implement his system and his style. And hopefully he can, I don't think he's been really dealt the best hand. I think Daryl Morey, a lot of people took Harden's side because he kind of, was publicly bashing Daryl Morey. I mean, he had a whole neon sign in a strip club, but
yeah,
I can't really stand here and say, I don't think Daryl Morey is not a liar.
He
I
probably
absolutely
is.
think he's a liar.
Yeah,
he absolutely is. There's no reason he shouldn't be. I mean, look where he is. You don't get to where you are in life, like where he is, and not be kind of a bit of a truth stretcher, if you will. And he just hasn't really gotten us a good team, an all around a deep team. He leveraged all of our draft picks to sign his guys from Houston, and that got us in trouble. And those guys aren't good. And now we have a disgruntled James Harden. We don't know what's going on with Embiid. He's, making excuses, and he's like 29, 30. So I don't know. I have no expectations. I think they should probably win like 40-something games, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
48 to 52. That's what my prediction right now is, just because of...
If anybody gets hurt for an extended period of time in the starting lineup, we're fucked.
They're fucked.
And then we sold Tobias Harris is still... I feel like he's been a Sixer for like 30 years.
It feels like that, dude. And... I guess the thing with James Harden, though, it seems like there's like kind of a secret under the table agreement that they're trying to move him. That's what it seems like the excitement level from him has gotten, where he's like showing up.
I guess, yeah.
And he's like, all right, like, I'm here, baby. Like, let's go. And I think he knows, though, but even if they don't, though, Ty, like he knows he can't really be the drama queen problem starter that he really wants to be. He's not 27 anymore, like he can't. His good graces and his he's running low on credit in the in the NBA circle or in the NBA space, because people really aren't willing to put up with his shit anymore. He's not that good at it. Like, he's still good. He's still okay. He's like I don't want to say mediocre, but he's like above average, but he's not that player anymore. So you can't really cause those problems and bring the drama that you bring if you're not going to be a 25, 26, 27 points per game and be an all NBA player. He's not that anymore. I mean, he's he doesn't really play all that hard for the good portion of the season. He kind of is in neutral, it seems, where we begged for him to score basically all last year. It was kind of like a Ben Simmons without the defense. I've called him that a few times, where there's situations where he just doesn't want to shoot, and he can't, that step back doesn't have the same life behind it, because at some point during the season, a hamstring, a calf, a quad, there's something that goes wrong with his legs, where now all of a sudden he's not the same guy anymore, and he can't, he can't really get the leverage, or he can't push off like he used to, and yada, yada, yada. The man's, 34 years old now? 33, 34 years old? He's no spring chicken. Doesn't exactly treat his body the greatest. He's not exactly on the LeBron, Tom Brady level of body maintenance, you should say. But listen, we saw what he is. We all know what he is. When we traded Ben Simmons, I'd have traded Ben Simmons for anybody. So there was a reason that James Harden was available in a trade for him. It's because they're he is not that player either. He's not that player that's going to push you to the next level. We got him. He was good. He, in some ways, made Embiid better. In some ways, made the rest of the team worse because he is a guy who holds the ball for 17 seconds of a shot clock most of the time and has no idea how to play off the ball. So, we could go over that all day long. I could sit here and shit on James Harden all I want, but at the end of the day, him and Joel Embiid laid an egg in Game 7, and they went to sleep in the last 6 minutes of Game 6. So
and then made excuses.
Oh, both of them did. And now Embiid's kind of just like asleep at the wheel. It seems they're interviewing him, and it just seems like, oh well, like he doesn't. It doesn't seem like he gives a fuck anymore. That's the vibe I get from him, and I really don't. I don't think he cares because he won his MVP, and unfortunately, I think he's realized he's probably not. He doesn't have what it takes to win a championship, and I know that's kind of a mean thing to say, but it's just my thoughts from watching this guy for what. Almost 10 years now.
10?
Yeah, 8, 6, 7 years now. He doesn't have that next level, that extra gear, that kind of where he just takes over and dominates a big time game to push them to the next round. He can do it against the Raptors, Nets, and whoever you want in the first round, but once the second round rolls around, he gets you got Al Horford's decrepit ass guarding him. He turns into, Nikola Jovic as opposed to Nikola Jokic. So it is a rough situation. Like you said, I mean, the only good thing is that maybe Maxey will be better this year, but I have such negative feelings towards the Sixers that I don't care. Who really cares if Maxey plays better than he has in recent years or he grows as a player? Is that going to push them to the conference finals? That's all I fucking care about, and it's not.
Yeah, well, listen, when Tyrese Maxey's three ball isn't going down and you're like, hey, let's swing it to Danny Green, that's when I'm going to probably change the channel because I can't watch Danny Green anymore. That was like 2 years ago. So I can't imagine he's gotten better. We also, Mo Bamba, he's our backup center. That's probably not going to work. That's him and Montrezl Harrell. Didn't he tear his ACL?
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, man.
Thanks
not that I was looking forward to watching him play, but, Paul Reed's listed as a small forward, and he plays backup center minutes for us. So I will say one thing. Jaden Springer in the preseason game looked awesome. He met Jason Tatum at the rim.
Saw that.
That was nasty.
Yeah.
Made both of his threes. Scored some points. So I think maybe all the seasonings he's had in the G League and whatnot. Maybe he can take a step forward. We really need it badly to get like a nice young, athletic, defensive stalwart.
Yeah, close enough.
A defensive guru, if you will, kind of like what Matisse Thybulle was. Supposed to be in theory, great defensively and maybe can give you something on offense and not hit the side of the backboard. I'm sorry.
Crazy.
Every time he shoots a corner three. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, very athletic. I know it's just one preseason game, but I think he has definitely, it's a lot about confidence with him. And I think he has a decent game. So we will see. He's, I guess he's kind of what Zaire Smith was supposed to be, if that makes sense. A small, bouncy, athletic guard that can defend multiple positions and give us hopefully a nice, decent outside jumper. So we'll see what he can do. Nick Nurse, I think, should be able to mold him into an OG Anunoby type player, if you will. Other than that, I'm looking at the roster and I'm like, oh man, Korkmaz, Daniel House, Danny Green.
The usual suspects are out there, man.
TJ Tucker, Kelly Oubre, DeAnthony Melton's like, Patrick Beverly, yay! We get Patrick Beverly. Like, I've hated Patrick Beverly his whole career. He talks shit, and he isn't really good. I don't think he's going to be much better now at his advanced age, So, there you go.
Yeah, and it seems like they are just light years behind the Celtics and the Bucks and teams of that nature. Who else would be better than the Sixers this year? I don't really...
Everyone.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm just saying in the East. Maybe they're the third best team in the East. I don't know. Are the Raptors going to be better than them this year? I doubt it.
But the Hawks, maybe Celtics, Bucks,
Knicks,
no, Cavs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the East, if you really look at it, it is not that good. So I'm not all that worried about them making the playoffs or whatever, or having that first home series. It's just we're in the same pattern every single fucking year, man. And I'm tired of getting all worked up about it or getting excited about them. I was all in on them last year, and they again broke my heart. The only thing that could really shake things up is a Harden trade for someone of value, or they make a move that kind of just shakes everything up, and they get, maybe move Tobias and somebody else. But like we've talked about, they keep prioritizing, cap space for 2024, and I really Siakam and the boys don't really get me excited. I don't think that's gonna propel this team to a championship. So there's that. Unfortunately, I have some things I have to talk about now that I was running low on energy here. I used an awful lot so far on my Phillies and whatnot, but now we're here to talk about some college football, Ty. Quickly wanted to get over my thoughts on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, my team that I have lived and died with, died multiple times with. And now we are at a point in my Notre Dame fandom where I am the closest I've ever been to kind of just stepping away from not just being a fan, but just kind of taking them seriously. And I know that's a little bit of a wild statement, but it's the truth. I mean, we are now on our, fourth or fifth coach since I've been alive. Really the third coach since I've been a serious fan. It was Charlie Weiss, then it was Brian Kelly, and now it's Marcus Freeman. And I think Marcus Freeman, from what he's shown me so far, is just not fit for this high level of a job. They lost that Ohio State game. That was that was a battle, and it was a close game, and they lost by, with no time on the clock, and it took 60 minutes for Ohio State to kind of just steal that game from you. And all right, listen, I can live with that. That's okay. You go play Duke. Duke isn't exactly Ohio State, but they were still ranked. They're still going into their house. And you win that game, and it takes a miracle pretty much for you to win that game. And then the video after that comes out of their final drive, they have the headsets mic'd up, I guess, and they're talking. You hear all the coaches talking, and these guys the whole time, Ty, are talking about, let's just get a field goal here. Let's just get down there. Let's get a field goal. Let's all we need is 3. Let's do this, let's do that. And there's only one guy that's like, hey guys, we should figure out a play to run when we're going for 2. That's the only one guy was just like, hey, what's our best zone play? They're gonna run zone on the goal line. What's our best play to run? Even they run down that whole drive. Hartman picks up those 16 or 19 yards on that 4th and 19, which is incredible. And then they get up and their first play, I think they called timeout or something, and then they're just like, it's not like, hey, let's try to score a touchdown here. It's let's tie this game, or let's I don't even remember what the score was. I think it was a 1 point. So they probably would have won the game if they kicked a field goal. But it's just more like trusting a college kicker to win you a football game is the most asinine thing I've ever heard of in my entire life, especially the kicker that the Notre Dame Fighting Irish have right now, who, not bad, but he's just not, you can't trust this man. So that just screams coward to me. All of them. They're all just, we're looking for the easy way out of this game, and Estime saves them from that. They come into Louisville, we go to Louisville the next week, and we get absolutely blown out by the Louisville Cardinals in their house. The one Cardinal. There's only one Cardinal that they're playing for. That's right. I can't think of something. There's obviously been some embarrassing losses for my Irish. They lost to Marshall last year. So yeah. I can't get all that worked up in that sense. We Are Marshall. What a great movie. Matthew McConaughey.
I was going to say, was that McConaughey?
McConaughey was the head coach. I would have went in the battle behind him, man. You could just tell even if he doesn't, he's like an Al Pacino kind of head football coach. Where I don't know anything about the X's and O's, but I sure know how to motivate these boys. But yeah, listen, it's you had Sam Hartman. He's 36 years old. You were hoping that you would get good play out of an older quarterback like him, and he comes in and throws an absolute egg up.
Oh man,
he was throwing picks left and right on Saturday night. This was a game
Five
where I
turnovers
had
total
one eye
for the
on,
team.
where I'm like, I was watching. It was a close game, and then I think halftime is where I was really able to lock in because that's when the Phillies game got done. And it was just, I wish I hadn't paid attention to it. The final score was 33-20, and Sam Hartman throws 3 picks. I mean, we can't run the ball. Estime has 10 carries for 20 yards. Our offensive line is just getting bullied. We really have no weapons on the outside. So I guess I just don't know what the vision is here or where, or like, what are they going to do next year? Because, I mean, they are favorites at home against USC. I mean, I get the whole idea of there being trap lines. I don't know if this is a trap line or if this is just a, I don't get it. So maybe it is a trap line. But I am going to have a mega nuclear megalodon play on this on the old Trojans, and I hate USC. I hate Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But I have zero faith in Notre Dame anymore, and I think that they just, the offensive coordinator's horrible. They're going to have to fire him at the end of the year. That I know they'll do. There was people out here probably think I'm just like blabbering around, but. I'm all in on the Irish. The Irish brought an offensive coordinator in last year who they were going to hire.
Gerard Parker.
No, yeah, but they brought in another one from another school who had a contract. But the Irish, the administration and the athletic department decided they weren't going to pay the buyout for the offensive coordinator that the head coach wanted. So instead, they had to go in-house and get Gerard Parker, who was like a tight ends coach. Before this, something along those lines. And
not looking good.
They lose their strength coach. I'm pretty sure they lost like an offensive line coach because I really do not think that the administration gives a fuck about football anymore. They don't take it serious anymore. And if that's the case, then I don't know if you can hear me. That's me washing my hands of these guys then, because I don't have to, I didn't go to the school. I don't have to fucking sit here and live through this. I'll pick another team where they actually care about winning national championships, and I'll root for them. I don't really care. I didn't want to be like the Marcus Freeman hire was like a. Now it seems like looking back, like it was it's still like the hire. It's like I think he's a young coach who kind of needs some guidance. But, and he has an Al Golden in there. Like, although it's Al Golden, but at least that guy has been a head coach of a major program before. It didn't exactly go well, but he still at least has some experience. He needs some guidance, and he needs somebody, especially on the offensive side of the ball, who can really take over things and do what needs to be done. They had Tommy Rees last year, but now he's Alabama's problem. There's really just a lack of, I don't even know. There's no urgency. No one really cares, it seems. It's just, only the fans do. The rest of these people are just like, well, they're still ranked. They still have a good team. The Trojans are coming in. They're favorites. It is what it is. It's just tough. But what do you make of the whole?
So it appears that their OC that they had lined up was Colin Klein, who obviously, I don't know if you remember, he used to play Kansas State. He was I'll say this as best I can. He was like a poorer version, but also on a much worse team, like Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
I guess is what I would say. Now I think Colin Klein is. I believe he is the. I think he's the coach of. I think he's the OC at Kansas State where he played. So, obviously they had a chance to get him, and whatever happened, I guess they didn't want to pony up the money. It's going to be hard, I think, for Notre Dame to really have sustained levels of success in football at the top level when, you're requiring a certain GPA and then the athletic office and the university doesn't want to pay buyouts. Like, these are things you have to do. It's unfortunate, but you guys aren't. It's not like Notre Dame University is struggling for money, So. You got to pony those things up. And when Sam Hartman goes out there and turns the ball over 5 times against a team who was in year 1 of their rebuild with Jeff Brom and Jack Plummer, this isn't how the season was supposed to go for Louisville. I mean, they're pretty solid. Their defense is good. They have some decent playmakers on offense. Jawar Jordan's a stud at running back. Jamari Thrash, pretty solid receiver too. And Jack Plummer's just like a game manager, but he knows the Jeff Brom system for Purdue. So he went out, got him from Cal. I just was very shocked that this is Notre Dame is going to look like after, 2 tough games. But this might just be what their offense is, because you look at the first 4 games of the year, they were scoring 40 a game. Navy, Tennessee State, NC State, Central Michigan. But then the schedule flipped to Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, USC, Pitt, Clemson, Wake Forest, Stanford. I'm not saying that some of those teams are going to be, they should smoke Pitt, they should smoke Stanford and Wake Forest, but you got to go at Clemson. And then, like you said, this week they're home against Notre Dame, USC. Like that's going to be a fucking bruising game. It's going to be very tough to keep the athletes that USC has in check. But especially Caleb Williams, you give him any time out there, he makes magic happen. So I'm with you. I think USC wins. I don't understand
I
this
don't
line.
see why they wouldn't. Yeah, I mean,
maybe it's a trap. Like they have a home game against Utah next week, but the Notre Dame is a much bigger rivalry, or a game that you wake up for over Utah, especially if Cameron Rising isn't playing again. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of in a similar way with LSU. Like, I like what we have. We're not awful. We're not bad. We're good. A lot of teams would rather be where we are. We would much rather trade spots in a second. Like, if, we're talking to a UF fan or a Vandy fan or whoever the fuck. But there's just there's a standard for certain schools. Notre Dame's one of the most prestigious programs ever. LSU, maybe not ever, because we didn't really have success before the 90s, really before the 2000s that much. But in the modern era, we're one of the bigger programs. We have 3 national championships in our lifetime. So in the last 20, 30 years, we're up there, and things just aren't there yet. It's crazy that we were at our highest point with Ed Orgeron. So Brian Kelly has a lot of work to do, but he knows what he's doing, I think. The problem I think I have with him is he just doesn't make great hires. I did love the Marcus Freeman hire, right? He hired Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
As the DC, and then he took over for him. So
yes.
He definitely needs to make a brand new hire on the defensive side for LSU, because our D coordinator. I mean, we have our D lines lining up like a yard or 2 off the ball. Like, what the fuck? How does that even happen? There's like a gap between us and the O-line. You're supposed to be right there on the line at their face. And I don't know how you see that. And you're like, yeah, I mean, listen, anytime an NFL coach leaves the NFL to come to college, unless he was like an analyst and now he's stepping up to be a coordinator, like how Joe Brady came to LSU with not much experience, but he was in the NFL just kind of getting his feet wet. And then he became the OC at LSU. Then he went back to the NFL. Unless it's like that, you don't take a linebackers coach from the NFL and be like, hey, you can be our college DC. That's probably not going to work. And that didn't work here. I mean, one time we took Cam Cameron from the NFL. He was like the worst OC. And we're like, hey, he could do it in college. Nope, didn't work. So it's really all about the coaches you hire. I feel like Marcus Freeman doesn't have a good staff, or maybe the staff that he wants maybe at Notre Dame, So, yeah, you just got to get the personnel in there that is needed to win a national championship. And I don't think either of our programs are there.
For the record, the one story that was talking about the offensive coordinator, they brought him to a hockey game and everything. Like, they had him there, like, meeting with everyone. His name was Andy Ludwig from Utah. And he had a $2.8 million buyout clause in his 3-year rollover contract with the University of Utah, which proved to be too rich for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
And he's done well over there for what he has, like nothing,
exactly.
really there. So yeah, Notre Dame got to pony up the money, guys. Yep. Come on.
And and that's the thing that you're not a serious team then, because I think Alabama would have 100% paid that. Georgia, anywhere else in the country who takes football seriously, they would have paid it. So I really, and I rarely say this, but I really do hope that Notre Dame gets their doors blown off this week. Just to kind of really drive home how far away they are. Because I think if this is a close game, they lose, they're like, well, we're right there. We had a couple, close games. We slipped up against Louisville, but, we're right there. We're right there. But no, we're not. We're really not, though. So I think that's apparent, and I think I really hope that it kind of gets driven home this weekend by Caleb Williams doing it in our house. The top 4 teams in the country, though, it seems pretty set in stone: the Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, right? And then after that...
Yeah, I have a lot of concerns with Florida State. I think this is going to be an open year. Like OU made a huge move. I think, okay, now I can kind of take them serious. I still have issues with their defense. I never thought Texas was that good. I'm not a big Quinn Ewers fan. I do like Washington. I just think the Pac-12 is going to like kind of cannibalize itself. I think Washington, Oregon play this week. That's going to be a huge game. Winner of that is pretty much in control of their destiny for the rest of the season. I think FSU is going to slip up. I do. I think Ohio State also might slip up. I think that Michigan-Ohio State game obviously is going to be amazing. I do like Michigan. They haven't played anybody, but whatever. You play who you play, and then you deal with them accordingly, right? When you fight somebody who's 0-10, you have to knock them out in the first round. Jay Ellis, that's what you're supposed to do.
Shout out Jay.
Shout out Jay Ellis. Always has to sneak in a nice Jay Ellis
Look
reference. But yeah, I mean they're handling all these teams as they should. So they have Indiana this week. They're going to beat the brakes off them. They have Michigan State next week. Should beat the brakes off them. Then Purdue. I mean, man, their schedule is really, really pathetic. Other than Penn State and Michigan, Ohio State, they have nobody. So I think Georgia looks good. Georgia's probably fine. I think a sneaky team could be UNC because they don't really play anybody. There's only a team or two that they have to beat. They've looked good. They looked good last week coming off of I think it was Syracuse. People thought Syracuse was going to be the upset pick. Yeah, that didn't work. I mean, maybe Louisville. Maybe Louisville can make it interesting. They don't have a crazy schedule. They do have Duke this week. That's going to be tough. And they have Miami, who, by the way, I mean, is that the worst loss in, football history that Miami suffered this week? Oh, man,
how great was that? I mean, I had my Miami friend hit me up. Shout out to T-Mons. Irish on, what's it called? Upset watch. And I'm basically dude, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear this right now.
Georgia Tech.
And then I'm wait a second. I go tune into their game, and I'm wait. What an absolute fucking meltdown that is. I mean, you run the ball for no reason, and he's still claiming that the guy's elbow was down, which, who cares?
He was.
Yeah, well, but who cares? He lost.
Cares? Yeah.
They lost.
You know what happens when you kneel the ball? You don't fumble.
Yeah. Did they say why they did that?
Let me see if I can find a crystal ball. I think Mario Cristobal, I mean, listen, after something like that, you kind of have to just tuck tail and stay inside for a week. There's nothing you can do, but I think it looks like somebody's trying to do lip reading, and he tells the OC you might want to kneel it out here.
Oh,
that's what somebody said. But you can't. You're the head coach. There was a time before when he was at Oregon where he refused to kneel out the clock, and a couple times actually. One time they were up 34-6, and they're just running the ball when they could run the clock out, and the commentators were confused. The commentators in this game, I think it was Jesse Palmer. It could have been, or Brock Osweiler. It was one of them. They were like, I don't understand what they're doing. It's 3rd and 15. All you have to do is kneel at once, and the game is legitimately over. It's not like you're giving them 3 seconds, 6 seconds. No, it's over. It's over. The fat lady is singing, and he's like, I'm very confused. I don't get this decision here. They run it, and they get stripped. And everybody's going to go for the ball because what else are you going to do? So obviously people are going to shit on the kid for fumbling, and I get it. You can't fumble in that situation. You have to just go down or something, But. And he was down, technically. But that is on the head coach who got a 10-year, $80 million contract to leave Oregon to come all the way to Miami and tell all these kids, hey, the U is back. This is what we're going to do. We're going to beat all these teams. And then you lose at home to Georgia Tech, who is terrible. Terrible. They are not good. They're in the middle of a rebuild.
Yeah.
And also the last play of the game, to have the receiver just get behind the entire defense. I mean, how the fuck does that happen? How does that happen? Haynes King, who couldn't, complete a pass at A&M, is out here daggering you in the final seconds, and that's just insane. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it made no sense at all, but that's what college football is all about right there, just giving games away and just having these historic, heroic comebacks happen. And, man, listen, college football, like you said, it's open this year. It's probably the most fun it'll be. That's why I'm so frustrated as a Notre Dame fan, because it felt like a year that we could kind of maybe make some noise and actually make a run in the college football playoff if we were able to say, maybe get lucky against in that Ohio State game, and this USC game would be I'd have a much different vibe going into this one. But all that goes away when you get blown. I mean, even if they had beat Louisville, I would be all right, here we go. This USC game would be huge for them to kind of get back on track and maybe sneak into the playoff, because like you said, it's open. The Pac-12 is going to cannibalize itself. a lot of these teams that are hanging around this top 10, 15 area are, reasonable, in the discussion to be, included in the college football playoff. But
Yeah.
that's that. And that's that's the hot take hot box.
Our
ladies and
sad
gentlemen.
college football debate.
Yeah.
Bring me back to 2019 with Joe Burrow, please.
Yeah, and, bring me back to Brady Quinn, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, but
Tommy Reese, maybe. I don't know.
Everett Golson. Those were the days when he was the quarterback. But
Brandon, what was his name?
Wimbush.
Yeah.
Well, I remember them all. Maybe Dane Christ. Don't forget Dane Christ. Jack Combe was actually pretty good for them, but
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Enough's enough. So, my name is Matt McSweeney. This is the Hot Take Hot Box. We'll be back later on this week, probably after the Phils get their 2 games in, and hopefully we're discussing who they're going to play in the NLCS and what's going to go on there. But let's just hope the next pod has a more jovial feel to it.
Let's hope. We have some MMA this week. I'm trying to see if we have some Misfits boxing. That should be fun.
Yep.
That should be real. I mean, if you're waking up at 9 a.m. to watch that, more power to you. We have a big fight actually on Showtime. Tim Tszyu, Brian Mendoza. Winner gets Jermell Charlo, who everybody is still shitting on him for the performance he had against Canelo, which I understand. It was not Joshua Clottey, Manny Pacquiao. It was not Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence. It was bad, sure. But let's give him a break. I mean, Jesus, I'm all for shitting on a person who puts on an absolute dud of a performance, but
let's fucking lay off relax. The guy a little bit.
Just a little bit, I mean, he fought Canelo Alvarez moving up 2 weight classes, and Canelo Alvarez is juiced to the gills, so it's like, let's just calm down. Let's see him fight. I mean, he needs this Tim Tszyu fight bad, because people have been saying, he's ducking Tim Tszyu, he doesn't want to fight him, and I'm like, he just fought Canelo. How are you going to call him a duck for fighting? It makes no sense to me. It's like people that call Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney a duck for not wanting to fight Gervonta Davis when the guy wants to take 80% of the purse. It's like, I don't think that's how that works, but you know how boxing is. So that's going to be a big fight. My cousin Vincenzo Gualtieri is getting in there in the middleweight division for a unification bout. That shows you how bad the middleweight division is, post Triple G and post Canelo. And Miguel Burchell, he's getting back in there on the zone. So, Lee Wood also got a big comeback win against Josh Warrington. So, combat sports is rolling, baby. We got KSI this weekend. We got Logan Paul. It's going to get really gross.
Shout out to Dylan Dennis, going to get in there. He's got to pay his legal bills.
He's going to get absolutely shelled, I think.
Absolutely. You know what? That's crazy. Like, I mean, not that I thought much of Logan Paul before this, but he's absolutely tanked any sort of credibility he had in the boxing space by he's like, I'm going to garnish his wages for the rest of his life because he talks shit about my wife, and turning his replies off on Twitter. So it's like, it's just a joke. I don't take
also,
that
I feel
shit.
like I haven't heard. Sorry, no. I feel like I haven't heard much from Jake Paul at all lately. Have you also noticed that?
Yeah, I think he's probably trying to be the good brother. Like, unfortunately, his brother's not always trying to steal his opponents and shit like that. But
yeah,
I mean, there you go, ladies and
gentlemen. Things are getting weird. Things are getting weird in the Paul world, huh?
Hot Take Hot Box. My name is Matt McSweeney.
I'm Ty Capone.
And as always, ladies and gentlemen, bet the Phillies money line, and make sure that you have a backup plan.